So it's been about 9 or 10 months since I last posted a video, and there's a monumental amount of reasons for that. But what is important is that I'm back today. I'm bringing you a video, and we are going to do another episode on the 650 Triumph because it is well overdue. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit rusty. I'm actually feeling a little bit nervous about coming back to YouTube. But yeah, first of all, I've got some things to sort of update you on, and then we're going to get into the 650 Triumph stuff because it's a pretty exciting day today. So yeah, obviously it's been a long while since I posted a video. I've had a lot go on. I don't want to bore you too much with this because it's not really motorcycle related, but I moved out. This is my dad's garage. I moved out, so I no longer had access to that. Shortly after that, my brother and I gave up renting the workshop. Now, giving up renting the workshop means, one, a lack of space, which means all of a sudden I've got to find places for lots of tools, motorcycles and things like that, but also a lot of those tools were my brother's tools, and I would pay rent for a month, so I didn't have any access to those, and I had to get out of there pretty sharpish. Shortly after moving out, I basically lost the place I was renting, and so had to get out just before Christmas. I had like 3 days, something like that. It's absolutely ludicrous. And I've also lost loads of footage. I've actually filmed multiple episodes of things I've done and I've lost it, which is very frustrating. And I'm an all or nothing kind of guy, and being that I put my all into it and come away with nothing video wise, I just tapped it on the head for a while because I couldn't balance it on top of everything else I'm doing. Not to mention the fact that I also work a job that involves doing 2-3 hours work every evening, so there was no time to edit. But I've made the time today to come back, and I'm feeling good about it, if not a little bit nervous. So let's get on to the Triumph business. Now, the last episode, we just got the bike running for the very, very first time. Being that 9 months has passed, you'd expect a huge amount of progress, but that is not the case at all. I actually left the bike really because I didn't want to do too much without you guys being there for it. I wanted this to be a process that was filmed totally and really exciting for you. That being said, last week I found the time. I had 3 days where I didn't have work and I ploughed into it, and I'm really pleased with what I've made. And so today we're going to take the bike out for a ride, which is, you know, full circle when you think of how we got it only about a year and a half ago. It's mad to think that you can actually ride this thing on the road now. So I have ridden it before. I've actually done about 300 miles on it. That didn't come about because I wanted to do those miles, really. First and foremost, if any of you are familiar with the West Kent Run, it's a great event around here, where you do about 100-120 miles on a classic bike with 300-400 other bikes. It's absolutely mental, and I do it every year. This year I was going to take my 500, and the day before I started getting some issues which plagued me for a long time after that as well. Ironically, that day my registration came through for the 650. So in a bit of a mad scramble, I managed to get it insured and get it running to a point where I thought, right, it's now or never. I'm gonna do this ride. And I did want to film that, but it turned out to be some of the worst weather I think I've ever encountered on an August day. Now I ride, you know, about 1,000 miles a month. I do it all weathers. This was a horrible horrible day. 120 miles in non-stop torrential rain. It really was awful, and I don't think there's any way I could have filmed it, even if I wanted to. It would have just been rain splatters on the lens all day. Let's talk about the things that have been done without you guys here. Now, first and foremost, I had someone come in and wire the bike. If you read the Classic Bike magazine, you'll have already seen that. Ferret, he's very, very well known for his electrical work. He's come in, wired the bike for me, which is great because it's not my talent. I've since changed a few things. So originally it was on a Boya sort of battery eliminator thing. I've removed that. The reason I went with that in the first place is because I had a Norton Commando high output alternator on there, and they basically can't be used with a standard regulator rectifier. I've since changed the alternator to a standard Triumph one. I'm on a ordinary 120 watt, I think it is, regulator rectifier, and I've got a battery as well. I made a whole episode about making a really quite fancy 2-in-1 full bore exhaust pump, but I lost most of the footage to that, and to be honest, when I rode it with that, I didn't like it that much. I really think it bogged down the bike, and I wasn't that happy with it. So I've since gone back to the TT pipes. I've trimmed a little bit off, and they've gone on there really, really nicely. I've made a couple of brackets for them, and I have also painted the tank. Now, painting, as you all know, is not my forte. I was rather pleased with it, but I think in this damp weather, it's taken forever for my petrol-proof lacquer to go off. So yeah, where I have ridden it, it's doesn't seem to be petrol proof really. I've had a few spills on there, and it's either melted some of the paint or it's left a bit of a nasty stain which won't clean off. Very frustrating, but what, you know, some of you are going to look at this bike and think, wow, that's, you know, it really looks crusty. My main point for this bike is not to make something show winning, immaculate. It is to prove that you can make a sensible, very usable bike on the cheap, and that, I believe, is what I've done. So let's get out there and take a look at the bike. And so here she is. This is the moment that makes it all worth it, isn't it? Bike complete, out in the sun, chrome glistening. All right, it's crusty chrome, but it doesn't matter. What a beautiful thing this is. I'm really, really pleased with it. So looking down the front, you can see there I've done a bit more work to the front mudguard stays. I've drilled them all out. I've also polished up the mudguard, not to the extent where it's a mirror finish, but just so that it matches the slightly newer rear one. And I've also put on the checkerboard front of the mudguard. Moving around to the front, you can see I've got my TT pipes mounted on there. They're great, they sound great, it runs really, really nice. This side has actually blued a lot, and the only thing I can really put that down to is my ignition problems, where I was having problems with spark plugs. Now, spark plugs are like oil, everyone's got an opinion on them, and I've always used Champion, but recently I've had a spate of failures of spark plugs. It's very boring, but so I've done away with them. I'm now on to NGK, which is what I've always run on Jack bikes, so we'll see how that fares. The fuel tank, colour scheme and everything, I'm really pleased with it. It's quite classic and classy. Obviously we're not restoring something, we're not putting it back to factory paint, so I'm able to do whatever I want with it really, and I think it's come out smart. What's nice about this bike is it's custom looking, but at the same time it's very sensible. We come over to the back here. Some of you will notice that these aren't the shrouded Girling shocks I originally had on. What I didn't like about them was they were just slightly too low for me, and they didn't have this seat running as flat. I know it's a superficial thing, so I changed them out to see whether these were a better length, and they are. Unfortunately, they are the absolutely awful ones that I took off of my 500. So at some point I will be getting some Hagans in that length, and I will also get the shrouded version because I think that's a really, really clean, nice look, especially with the chrome parts like the oil tank. It's going to marry up really, really nicely. So there you have it. Now I've filled you in on the sort of minuscule bits that I've done, but just finishing touches really. I mean, it now looks like a proper bike, doesn't it? So it's about time we started it up. It's a lovely day. Let's go for a little ride. Now, riding wise, we're at a point where we're still running in the motor. 300 miles. That's all I've done so far. At 250 miles, I tighten the barrel, I tighten the head as well, and also readjust the tappets because we've tightened down those things. Now, really, at this point, we're looking to keep the motor moving. We want to keep it spinning freely. We don't want to load it up. Really, now I'm getting to the point where I can comfortably take it up to about 50 miles an hour, and that's all right. But basically what you're looking to do is not load up the motor at any point, so it should almost just be coasting away under its own power. No rapid acceleration or anything like that. And yeah, it's really boring, but it's got to be done. And hopefully in doing those things, it's going to give us a motor that's going to last a long time and we can put a lot of miles on it. I can really see myself going some places on this. It feels very, very capable. So let's give it a start. You can listen to it and then we'll take it for a little ride. Well, I was just coming down that hill. I thought, this is backfiring a little bit much for my liking. This is not just an exhaust leak. And as you well saw, I ended up running out of puff, breaking down. But I was just sat there and this bloke come out and he goes, oh yeah, 650. I was like, oh yeah. You know. And he said, oh yeah, come in my shed. So I went in the stranger's shed, as you do, and yeah, nice T120R oil-in frame choppy had sitting there. He said, oh, if you need any tools or anything, give me a shout. So I thought, great, I mean, I've got my tools, but he's bound to have more. I can get back on the road quite quickly. I've come out and I've had a look at the bike and I realised what I've done is enjoy myself too much, and I've just run out of fuel, basically. But not run out of fuel because I've still got a reserve tank. But saying that, there's not a petrol station for quite a while, so you know, you can't write these things just happen, don't they? So yeah, I'm going to get back on the road now and hopefully I'll make it to a petrol station, we'll see. Plot twist number 2, my very expensive, not often used camera has flown off and it's smashed the protective lenses, which is fine because they're protective, but it's also damaged the non-replaceable lenses, so that's toast. I mean, I'm really annoyed about that because it's an expensive bit of kit, and well, that's it for it. I mean, it's all bent at the side and yeah, not good. And I wouldn't bother telling you, but the reason it came off is because of the state of the roads around it. I mean, have a look at this. This is just absolute. Look at that. You know, that is hazardous for a car, let alone. Oh. Anyway, ran over. Oh dear, there's some deer over there. Sure or not, but there you go. Deer. Oh dear, I think I should be saying. Anyway, on the petrol front, I've got enough to get me home. I'm only a couple of miles from home now, so I think we'll leave refueling for today, and we will just head home. And I think I'm in need of a strong cup of coffee, and we'll have a little debrief. Well, that certainly was an adventure. Not quite what I'd set out to film, but that's the way things go, isn't it? I've had my strong coffee and I've had some time to cool down, which was definitely needed. Anyway, I really hope you guys have enjoyed seeing the bike in what I suppose is its first final form. And I say first final form because the more you ride stuff, the more you find things you want to change. And what's really exciting is that now we're at the stage where we can start building basically like an emotional relationship with this bike. It's putting the miles on it. It's getting us places and giving it a little pat on the tank after it's got us there. It's adventures, and yeah, it's really exciting. I'm going to be using this bike a lot. As I say, my aim is to use it as my daily once I've run it in. So that'll be good. I do a lot of miles because I commute about 30 miles. So hopefully that bike is going to take me places this summer. Now, obviously, I've managed to do a video today, which is great. I don't think I'm in a position where I'll be doing weekly videos, but I would really like to be making them again. So I'm going to get them out to you when I can. I've got some really interesting stuff, some exciting stuff, couple of new bikes. Well, I mean, they're all projects, but this stuff is really interesting. So I'm hoping I can bring you guys in on that real soon. Last year was a bit of a washout for me, events-wise as well. What I did do didn't really go to plan, and I also did half of what I would usually do. So hopefully now I can get on the roll and start doing a few more videos, events, and show you a couple of these new bikes I've bought. I have sort of thought about what kind of videos I can actually release, given my sort of constraint of time and accessibility to things. And I really would like to do some more, a bit like the Christmas special, a little bit more arty. And there's also some people that I know in the motorcycle world I really feel deserve videos of their own, a showcasing of them, something that hopefully shows what genuine cool people they are, and that's something I really would like to get cracking on. But it's a bigger project that's going to take me a while to do. I want to say a massive thank you to you guys for hanging in there, because I know I've gone totally off the radar, but sometimes I have to do that to deal with stuff. Either you guys will understand that or you'll think I'm an idiot, which is fair enough. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video today. You more than deserve it. Thank you for subscribing and watching, and I look forward to getting some comments from you and getting back to you. Thanks again. I will see you in whatever we do next.